So, transported to the start of the CADEsport version of the Hillingdon Honey. Now, this course is basically named after two hills, Hillingdon Hill and Honeycroft Hill. We also go down one called Honey Hill as well, which leads us to the bottom of Honeycroft Hill. Now, this is about 4 kilometres long. You can see 4.2 kilometres in fact. This is designed to be a race of 4 laps, culminating in 16 point something kilometres, 16.8, which is just over 10 miles. So it's based on a 10 mile, 16 kilometre track. Now immediately we have this little drop. You can see the gradient in the bottom left middle. It's telling us that it's minus 1.4. This is the lull before the storm, because it will then go up through Hillingdon Hill, and that is not too steep. In fact, neither of the hills here are going to cause a lot of damage, but the whole point of them is it just adds a dimension to the racing where faster riders can try and escape. Just a couple of bends on this course where you risk crashing, and remember that currently with CADEsport you can choose whether or not you have braking and steering or not, and if you have got it, then you risk crashing, but you can go around these bends faster. If you haven't, it's safe around the bends, but your speed is restricted around those bends. Now, there's not too many tight bends here, so you might want to choose the option where there is less crashing. But remember too that we offer certain power-ups in here, and check the race before you do it. But if you have got the corner caper one, then of course that will be usable on those tight bends. Now, well, you can see we're into the gradient. This is Hillingdon Hill. It actually has a few trees that look like this in real life. This is stock scenery. It's not. It has been made for us, but it is not representing the actual landscape around West London, and certainly the mountain ahead of you. You wouldn't expect to see anywhere in London. Even big hills in North London and South London don't quite look that big. So we're going up this hill, fairly straight. It's a dual carriageway in real life. You can cycle up it quite easily. There's not too much traffic on it, and it can get round you. So this is not far from what it looks like in real life. Now you can see from the course at the top left-hand corner with a yellow blob. We're going heading downwards, southwards on that map, and you'll see that there's a sharp bend when we get to the top of Hillingdon Hill, and when we reach that, there'll be a sharp left into Vine Lane, which becomes Honey Hill downwards, and when we get to the bottom of Honey Hill, we turn left and go up Honeycroft Hill, weave round, and find ourselves back at the start finishing line where we started. So the whole game here is to see what you can do on the climbs, not get left too far behind. And see here now, this left hand bend here, get around quite easily at 35, way off the red zone on the speedometer there, so quite a safe one there. That takes us into Vine Lane, and this is the sort of cutting across now. We've done Hillingdon Hill, and you can see the gradient there in the bottom left middle, minus 2.6. Slight drop here. Gets steeper when Vine Lane turns into Honey Hill, and you can see we're probably about halfway across that bridge. There is I say bridge. As I say, if you look at the two sides of the course at the top left, the one on the left is Hillingdon Hill, and the one on the right is Honeycroft Hill. Now, this is the bridge taking us across from Hillingdon Hill to Honeycroft Hill, but as I say, we have to go down to get to the bottom of the same hill. So, not too much of a gradient here on this bit. You see, it's under 2% largely, but as it changes into Honey Hill, it gets a bit steeper, and you will notice that gradient go up before we get to the bottom. You can see now, hovering around 2 more consistently. It will go up a little bit, but look, there's one of the bends I warned you about. Not paying any attention there. Minus 2.5. The gradient might sort of increase your speed a little bit to the point of making that bend slightly more dangerous. So just watch out for that right hand bend on the descent, and you can see now this drop. We're on Honey Hill now. It's hovering around 2%, but it's a bit steeper than the gradient on Vine Lane. Now when we get to the bottom of this, you'll see by the yellow blob, and we're nearly at the bottom, we do this left-hander here. Now this is a little bit more sweeping, so it's not too risky, shall we say, and we get there on that quite easily at quite a speed before we hit the bottom of Honeycroft Hill. So this is Honey Hill we're going down now, 5%, and as you can see, this is where I said it gets steeper when it turns from Vine Lane into Honey Hill. When we get to the bottom of this, we're going to swing left and it will start going up again very, very shortly. Taking a bit more care on that bend, although it's still curved enough not to really cause too much of a problem. 1 kilometre to go on the lap with 3.1 around it. So you can see nothing too dangerous, but we're now into Honeycroft Hill. You can see the gradient here going up to about 3%. That's probably as bad as it gets. And when you get to the top, you'll see the yellow blob on the map in the top left hand corner. Where that swings round to the left is the top of the hill, and that takes us back to the start line, which comes very shortly after the top of the hill. Now, here's the warning. When you get to the start finishing line, obviously there's 4 laps if we're doing one of the races we're organising, and that's where the other bend is. So on the final lap, you can go as fast as you like through the finishing line, and it won't matter if you crash the other side of it because you'll have crossed it. But on every other lap, be careful, because you could easily crash, as we'll demonstrate in a moment when we get to the top. So just 500 metres to go. You can see the Canadian rider in front of us just beginning to swing round on that left-hand curve. We're getting very near the top. You'll see the finishing line coming into view very, very soon. 400 metres to go as the gradient settles down now. In fact, it's slightly going down there, but it's minus 1%. And as I say, we're over the top of Honeycroft Hill, and we're just heading for that finishing line, as I say, which is going to come into view very, very shortly. 200 metres to go, and you can just about see it through the trees now, and you can see where the barriers start. It swings around to the left. Finishing line just on the left here as we go into Uxbridge Town Centre, but look what happens to me there. Far too fast on that little descent into Uxbridge Town Centre, which takes us to the bottom of Hillingdon Hill, and I crash again. So off for lap 2. Better luck to you when you do it.